Welcome PUBG esports fans to PGS Preview. We are here to catch you up on some of the most interesting stories from the regional series, so you will have everything you need to watch on day 1 of PGS 7, which will kick off in Shanghai, China from April 28th through May 4th, followed by PGS 8 from May 12th through 18th. We will look at some of the spicy roster changes, talk about tournament favorites, and dive into the teams making their PGS debut. I'm your host Lisa, and I'm joined by Yingxi.
Hello everyone, I'm excited to be here and even more excited for PGS. With how the regional tournaments turned out, it may be time to forget everything we learned last year. There are so many new teams and new rosters. There's never been a better time to be a PUBG esports fan. Should we jump straight in?
Yeah, sure. So first, let's remind everyone of our format for PGS 7. Teams will play in a 3-day group stage where the top 16 will move on to the final stage. It will be a tough fight for our teams, and only the strongest will make it to the end. With that in mind, why don't we start by looking at our groups for PGS 7. In Group A, we have Team Falcons, T-Return 5, Navi, BB Team, G&G, Bagopa, 4 Angry Men, and New Happy. So what are your initial thoughts on this group?
This for me is probably the weakest group coming to PGS 7. We definitely expect to see new Team Falcon roster, formerly the Sonics roster, perform on global stage. They have shown us time and time again that they can contest for any trophy. Beyond Team Falcons and Navi, there are a lot of question marks on this group.
Yeah, correct. I agree. And so what about Bagopa? For the viewers at home who might be newer to the PUBG scene, Bagopa was a team founded by Peel in 2022 after he left G&G the first time. Now they have returned and qualified with Peel back in Pro PUBG. While Peel won't be at PGS this time, and with 2 hard sub it in for him, do you think they can make some waves in this tournament?
To see Bagopa qualify was really surprising. It's an incredible achievement to see so many players come out of retirements to make a squad and qualify all the way to PGS. I think, however, we should temper our expectations for this team. I don't think they can keep pace with the best teams in the world, but if they do it, it will be one of the most incredible stories in PUBG esports history. We also have 2 of our GPT teams in, 4M and G&G, who have reworked their rosters. This will be a good test for them to see how those changes have worked. But the other team to keep our eye on here is T5. I was impressed through the JR's rotations in APAC, and I think they will be a real contender this year. But for the rest of this group, there are so many new rosters for teams that have underperformed at PGS. We will have to wait and see.
Yes, we have so much to see in the coming season. So why don't we move on to take a look at Group B, which in my opinion is the toughest group. We have our PGC 2024 champions, the Expandable, our 3-peat PGS champions, Twisted Minds, and the ever-present threat of 7A Gamings, as well as T1, Daytrick Gaming, Furia, and newcomers Bestia and Taikula.
This definitely looks like a tough group. Twisted Minds may have finished 5th at PEC, but as you said, they lifted 3 PGS trophies in a row last year, which is a record I doubt will be broken anytime soon. They always find a way to be a threat at PGS, and Example put up over 20 kills in PEC Grand Finals, so he still looks dangerous. I think they should remain on our short list of tournament favorites. The same goes for the Expandables. Tanvu and Chloris had combined 70 kills. I think they will prove at PGS 7 and 8 that PGC wasn't a one-time deal. I accept them to be strong.
Yeah, sure. So how about 17 Gaming? They have a roster change for the first time in the PGS era. Suzhou has moved to Tylute, and 7-7 has joined 17 Gamings in the wake of Tianba's breakup. How do you think this change will affect the team on the global stage?
17 Gaming has been one of the most consistent performers on the global stage with their previous roster. But we know this is a team that wants to win, and second place just won't cut it when we want to lift another trophy. 7-7 was a great supportive player on Tianba, and the early results have been promising. 17 Gaming has had a more defined identity working around Xiaowu as the anchor. It remains to be seen how this roster will do on the global stage, but I am optimistic, especially with the second place finished at PCL. Also, I think Furia might surprise some people in this group. This is mostly the legacy squad from last year that we saw big improvements from doing 2024, and it looks like they've continued that trend. They've been playing more aggressively, and it's really paying off for them. They were one of 2 teams to break the 100 kills mark with Team Falcons. If they can make it out of this group convincingly, we'll have to add them into the title race conversation.
So how about our final group, Group C? We have ROC Sports, Virtus Pro, E-Arena, Forest Natural Gaming, Divine, and 3 regional champions, GK Esports, Patrick Rhodes, and DN Freaks. I know a lot of people are excited about Ming joining XLab on Patrick Rhodes. Do you think they will live up to the hype?
I think they will. XLab and Ming, 2 of the best fraggers in the history of the game, and they already look like a world-class duo. On top of that, XLab had an unbelievable performance in PCL finals. He topped the charts in every meaningful metric with 45 kills and almost 7,000 damage, which was more than 1,000 above second place. I expect Paro to be near the top of everyone's power rankings coming into PGS 7. That being said, this is still a new change, and it remains to be seen if they can repeat this performance against the best teams in the world. Either way, I know it will be exciting to watch.
What about our 2 other regional champions in the group, GK Esports and DN Freaks? DNF finished the PWS finals with 4 chicken dinners and 2 second places in a 12-match grand finals, beating second place finishers T1 by a margin of 74 points. Meanwhile, GK Esports shocked PEC, claiming the title with an entirely new roster. How do you think this will change the group dynamic?
GK Esports has a very interesting story already. You have Diffix, formerly of Navi, Quizzy, formerly of VP, and Spyro, formerly of BB Team and Twist Minds. These are a lot of very good players who just haven't found the right home. These players alone have a combined 8 PGS appearances. On paper, this is a team that looks like it could compete in PEC, but for them to go and win in their first event together was a real surprise. Spyro seems like he might be back to his PGS 2 form, and Diffix looks like a new player on this roster with 6,800 damage dealt in the finals. I can't remember the last time I was excited to see a roster make their global debut, and I think they have the chance to shake up the power balance among the top teams. On the other hand, we have the Freaks. DN Freaks are far and away the best team from PWS coming into PGS 7 and 8 in my mind. They won the finals by 74 points, which is absolutely insane. Salute looked unstoppable in PWS with 39 kills in the 12-game finals. He was smurfing in the pro lobby with some of the biggest names in PUBG esports history. I think their performance regionally definitely makes them one of the big tournament favorites.
So now that we have had a quick look at our 3 groups, and speaking of tournament favorites, why don't we just take a minute to talk about the teams you think will be in the running for the PGS trophy on the final day?
It seems like Twist Minds has some magic at PGS. Maybe it's the short-form tournaments that suit them. Either way, I have high hopes for them, but I predicted 2 months ago that Paro would win PCL, and I'm sticking with them for PGS. How about you? Which teams do you have your eye on?
Paro definitely delivered an impressive performance regionally. I agree they're one of the top contenders. I'm also really looking forward to seeing how Falcon performed this year with the original Sonics roster on board. I think they will continue to be strong. Since this is the first global event of the year, every team here is a world-class squad. It sets the stage for this year's first true clash, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. I have actually one more question for you, Yingxi. Are there any interesting storylines you will be following at PGS 7? I know for me, I'm excited to see the rematch of our PGC contenders. For example, we have Expandables, TSM, Freaks, VP, and T1. They all had a shot at the trophy going into the final match of PGC 2024.
That was an incredible way to finish this year. I hope we can see something similar at PGS. For me, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the new and returning teams. We have 5 entirely new teams: Bestia, ROC Esports, Divine, Tahu, and GK Esports. We also have teams we are seeing for the first time in years like Begopa and Forest Natural Gaming. On top of that, this was one of the most active offseason in PUBG esports history. We haven't even talked about E-Arena yet, who managed to sign Narins in the offseason. It will be our first chance to see him on a team not called Daytrade. Mine, Zilzon, and DraftKings are returning to PGS on the new Bestia squad. New Happy qualified with a completely new roster. 4M brought Atomu and Longzi from Thailand. Zhengji rebuilt with a new roster as well. There is so much to watch at PGS. I can't wait for the tournament to start.
I agree. I think our first global event of the year, PGS 7, is set to be one of the most exciting PUBG events in history, so make sure you're here to join us for all the fun. PGS 7 will kick off in Shanghai on April 28th with 3 days of group stage and 3 days of grand finals from May 2nd to May 4th, where we will crown our first PGS champions of the year. Then after a week break, we will be back in action from May 12th through May 18th for PGS 8. Also, you can stay up to date with all things PUBG Esports on PUBGesports.com. That would do it for us here on PGS Preview. Thank you again for Yingxi for joining us and sharing your insight. I'm your host Lisa, and I'll see you on April 28th for PGS 7. Bye!
Bye!